Hey, this is Keith at Half Tracks and Honeybees. Hope y'all are doing well today. Well, yep, late winter, early spring, things are starting to bloom. If we go past the old pack house here, you'll see it's time for my annual video about Aunt Bertha's flowers. You can already see them down there. We'll just take a walk through the woods and I'll ramble on about Samson and Bertha. And I hope you enjoy it as much as I do every year. So Samson and Bertha got married and moved in this little farmhouse back in the 40s. I'll show some pictures of them in the farmhouse here. And I think Aunt Bertha planted one of everything she could find, or what people gave her. And the whole little house is surrounded by little one-offs of all kinds of different bushes and flowers. But she did have a big daffodil garden behind the old house. And you can see this is a dry stream bed down through here. And over the years, those daffodil bulbs have washed through the woods. And every year it gets bigger. So we'll just take a little walk through the woods here. You can see they start up there and come down through here. But Samson and Bertha, they were my great aunt and uncle. Samson was the brother of my grandfather, Shelton Spillman. But they lived down here in this little house out in the middle of a little over 40 acres that me and my wife were lucky enough to be able to put back together again, and that's where we live now. And they didn't get electricity until the 80s. I think they were actually the last folks on Surrey Yadkin Electric that got electricity. Now a few of them hadn't bloomed yet, but a lot of them have. But yeah, they didn't have electricity until the 80s. And they were just as happy as they could be. They didn't mind it a bit. Daddy ran a service station and had an ice cream cooler. And he kept milk jugs full of water frozen in the ice cream cooler. And they would come by and swap out their melted jugs for Daddy's frozen jugs. And they used that in a cooler on the front porch to keep their bacon and milk and all the stuff that needed to stay cool. But they heated the little house with a wood stove, and Bertha cooked with a wood stove. Later on, as Bertha got on up in age, and Samson, Daddy had them once they got the power ran down here, Daddy had a well board, and so they did have running water in the little house, but they never did have a indoor bathroom. They just had a little Johnny house, which is still there. I'll show a shot of that. But you can see these flowers have washed all down this stream bed. And they just go on and on. Over here. Now I don't have the dogs with me today, especially Samson. He would be pulling and tugging and trying to chase every scent that he found, and it would be hard to actually make a video like this. Still seeing the flowers. Lost a big tree here. That's a big oak. Y'all like the crunchy noises I'm making going through the woods? Sounds like I'm eating potato chips or Doritos or something. But yeah, Samson and Bertha, I remember when they would come by the service station. They had an old 55 Ford, 3 on the tree, had glass back mufflers on it. And Samson was a lot shorter than Bertha was. Samson, he was probably 5'3", 5'4". Bertha was probably 5'7", 5'8". So Samson had to sit on a little cushion to see over the steering wheel, and had the seat run all the way up. So Bertha's knees were in the windshield. So Samson would take off wide open in that old car, making a terrible racket. And Bertha would just be a cackling. Oh, I did miss one cool thing back here. We'll backtrack just a little bit. Check out this cool double beech tree. How amazing is that? And it's got all kinds of carving on it. I see 1938, 1978, stuff you can't read anymore. $1946. That's pretty cool, isn't it? That's a big old tree. Okay. Back to what we were doing. But yeah, like I said, me and Michelle were lucky enough to be able to put the old farm back together again. And now that's our playground. We like to just close the gate and hide. We can't see any neighbors. You can hear them when they're blowing leaves or mowing off in the distance. But you can't see anybody, which is a good thing. Not that I don't like people, but it seems like things are a lot easier the fewer you have around. Let's see, we'll cross over here. And if I slip on the leaves and bust my tail here in a little bit, y'all can laugh with me. So we're getting up here towards the driveway. And you can see there's a whole bunch of them up here. These get a little bit more sun, so they're a little bit further along. Ain't that pretty? And if we climb this bank right here, and then shimmy down the other side over here, which that might be interesting. I'm gonna grab a hold of that little tree. As long as the tree don't break. Or I don't step on a big rock that I didn't see, like that one. Okay, we made it. There's a few flowers. over on this side of the driveway, making their way towards the creek. You got that pretty little clump right there with that little waterfall behind them. How pretty is that? A little clump over here under a rock. And I think there's one more down here as we get closer to the creek. Maybe there is, maybe there isn't. Now these beech tree leaves are especially slick. So if we go sliding, just enjoy the ride. Yeah, I thought there was one more little clump down through here, but I don't see them. Oops. Sorry, didn't mean to have my finger in front of the camera there. I hope I didn't do that for a long time. Yeah, that was the end of them back yonder, I reckon. Y'all know what yonder is, don't you? If you look up the word yonder, you'll say it kind of means the same as over. Which over, I think that's French for over yonder. I think that's how that works. Anyway, we're to the creek now. It's a pretty day down here. But that's Aunt Bertha's flowers. Every year, this time of year, it reminds me of her and Samson. How happy they were, how simple their lives were, and how they made the best of what they had. You never meet two happier people. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. We'll see you back in the woods looking at her flowers about this time next year. Y'all take care.